Today we're talking about what I'm doing to deal with stress right now. Hi, I'm Jessica Valant, a physical therapist and Pilates teacher, and I want to bring science-based knowledge, empathy, courage, support, love, and hopefully some fun to the journeys we have with our bodies. There is hope and strength in your body, and my goal is to help you find it. Hi, welcome back to Meet Your Body. And I just wish we could have one big communal, walk together in the sun or hot coffee, hot tea, get together, or I don't know something, but I think this will have to do right now. And so I'm recording this November 12th, 2024, just for context. And I want to talk about stress a little bit. So I have some episodes in the past, two that are really good resources. One previous podcast, Meet Your Body podcast episode, is about why movement and exercise is so important for stress relief. So that is a great episode to go back and listen to for more detail around that. And then I also have a previous episode on my own experience with chronic stress and anxiety. And both of those will give you a lot of context and like details into some of this. So I'll link those below in the show notes in the description so you can go back and listen to those as well. But today I really just want to talk about what I am doing right now for some stress, like in this very moment, because I know many of you listening, no matter when you're listening to this, but especially if you're listening to it like kind of live when it's released, I know many of you are feeling stress in this time right now in the world, and especially in the US. There's a lot happening, and I don't want to go into the details necessarily around that, which I have kind of talked a lot about. I've talked a lot about Instagram. I've tried to make it really clear kind of where we are as a company and where I am as a person. And so you are welcome to go over there and kind of be there and look at what our values are as a company. But I really just want to talk about the stress piece today, because I think we can all agree that it is there, that it is heavy, and no matter where you live, no matter where you are, what season of life you are in, things can feel heavy at various times. And I want to say right now in the world it feels heavy, but gosh, we've been saying that for how long now, right? How many years have we been saying, oh, it feels heavy, it feels so heavy. So I don't know if I'm going to say any of this right today. I don't know if it's going to be eloquent. I just know I wanted to kind of be here sitting with all of you in this. And I just wanted to, just share what I'm doing a little bit right now, where I am, to see if maybe it might help you kind of as you are navigating your own possible stress right now as well. So first, I just want to say, and I have said this quite a bit over on Instagram as well, kind of in real time, I just want to validate whatever you are feeling, okay? It's really important, I think, to just recognize if you are feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling fear, if you're in the middle of the unknown, if there are relationships that feel like they have been severed. I want to validate that. If you are not on that side, and if you're not feeling that, I just want to encourage you to validate those feelings in other people, because they are real. Like, those are real feelings that people are feeling right now. They are truly feeling fear, and these are coming, like, this fear and some of this anxiety is coming from like words that have actually been said by people. It's not made up stories. It really is true, again, fear, frustration, stress, anxiety. So I want to validate it for you if you're feeling that. And then also, again, encourage anyone else listening to this. Let's say you're not feeling that, which I'm so happy for you if you're not, but people who are, maybe just try to validate that in them a little bit, try to come at it from a place of understanding. that even though to you in any situation, and this can happen in any situation in life where we might not understand someone's fear or anxiety, but what we can do is understand that it's real for them, that it's very true and very real. And so to kind of brush that off or to pretend like it's not there is just not helpful, and it's not empathetic. So again, wherever you are kind of just in life right now or along the line or listening to this 2 years from now, right? We all go through seasons, but just understanding that if you are feeling that, it's a real feeling that deserves to be honored. And if you are not feeling it, but people in your life are, it's a real feeling that deserves to be honored as well. So for me, I talk about this in the episode about my own chronic stress and anxiety. So going back, and I won't go into the whole story because you can always listen to it there on the previous episode. But I recognized probably about 2.5 years ago now that I was in a very heightened fight or flight state, and I had been for a while, like very heightened. And it was very detrimental to my health at that point. And I think for me, like, again, I talk a lot about it, but if I really look back, I could say, okay, maybe I had that a little bit in my past. And then, it really happened in 2019 for us. We had a very sudden death. My father-in-law died very suddenly. We became the primary caregivers for my mother-in-law who had Alzheimer's. And it was just a very, very intense year for my husband and I. And so, you do what has to be done, right? Like it's real stress in your life and real things that are happening, and you do what needs to be done. And then I had my hysterectomy prolapse repair surgery at the end of 2019. So that was a big 9 months for us. And we talk about, like, I remember very clearly, we looked at each other in December 2019 and said, well, at least next year will be better than that. Pause for laughter, because next year was 2020 and March 2020 hit. And the world spiraled. Things went crazy. And I had a really hard time with it. And looking back, I can say why. Because, we were safe. We were so privileged, me and my husband and our kids, so privileged that we could work from home. We could have our kids home. Yes, it was hard. Absolutely. It was hard, but we were very privileged in that situation. But I had a really, really, really hard time, and I went into a hard place for a while. And when I was able to look back on it, I think it was a couple things just for me personally that happened. One is, I think just seeing, one, the feeling of a loss of control. Not that we're ever in control, but I always had this feeling of, I can see the future. I understand the future. I'm going to plan for this and do this. And that was exciting to me. And then 2020 happened, this thing that we'd never seen happen in the world ever. And I just felt like an absolute, utter loss of control, that I could see any kind of future at all anymore. That's kind of where I went. I had a real loss of hope, which is hard for me. I have the word hope tattooed on my arm, and I had a loss of hope. And then I had a kind of a hard time with this loss of faith in humanity. To be honest, that was then. I feel like, and you guys all know, you've been there, we've been in the world for the past 10 years. It feels like things have gotten harder and harder, and it feels like words have gotten worse and worse, and messages have gotten just more full of vitriol. And that just, I took it all in. I just took it and took it and took it. And so all that to say, 2020, 2021, and into 2022, like really through 2021, I would say, I really had a gray cloud over me, and I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like what it was doing to me. And I finally figured out in 2022, it was this heightened fight or flight that I never got out of from 2019. My nervous system was way out of regulation and out of whack. And I committed very specifically to getting myself out of that, because I wasn't helping anyone in my life. Like I was no use to anyone in my life being in that place. And so I really had to commit to it. And I made some really, really, specific goals and to-do lists on how I was going to nourish myself and make sure I protected my nervous system. And I feel like I was getting out of it. And it's been a lot better. And so what I'll say is, over the past week, That is what I have personally sensed creeping back in. And so for me, that's what kind of scared me a little bit, is I just know I can't go back there. Like, I cannot go back to that place. I just wasn't serving anybody. I didn't feel good, but also I wasn't a great mom. I wasn't a great wife. I wasn't a great business owner. Like, I don't want to go back to that place. That place of hopelessness is really kind of what it was, of hopelessness kind of in the world. And I don't mean, I know some of you are probably listening because I've gotten messages like this saying, oh, don't be dramatic. And by the way, first off, I don't believe we should ever say that to anyone who's having an emotion, especially girls. How many girls grow up, don't be dramatic? They will stuff down their emotions if they hear that, okay? Let's not tell people they're being dramatic if they're having an emotional reaction to a situation that's occurring. Their emotions might be different than yours. I mean, that's a very valid point. They might be different. We all work on a different scale, and I am the first to say that I work on a heightened scale. My emotions are clear. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I can't hide them. I can't compartmentalize. I mean, goodness, I wish I could, and I just can't. So that's a big reason why I have to work so diligently on my nervous system and being able to process all of this, because I can't carry both very well. And some people really can. And so I think, I'd circle back just to that idea of, oh, don't be dramatic. I don't feel like I am. And also I do know I'm a sensitive person with this heightened emotional response. But let's not call people dramatic, again, when those emotions are very real to them. So all that to say, I had this recognition a few days ago of, okay, I don't want to go back there. And so what can I do? So I thought I would just talk through like the intentional steps that I'm taking right now to really nip it in the bud, to make sure that I take a little bit of a different path, right? And I think this is, anyway, I don't have any real big science behind it. I shouldn't say that. There is science behind it. But I'm just kind of giving you my story and what I am doing right now, just to talk to you like one human to another, so that you know you're not alone if maybe you're feeling some of this as well. So the first thing, honestly, is being really intentional, and I need to be more intentional about what content I'm consuming right now. So first, I will say my job, a huge portion of my job is social media and is being online. So I can't not be there. And I don't want to not be there, because I want to support my community during all of this too. And I want to give you guys resources, and I want to keep being there. I also noticed that it is real easy, as you all know, to get on and scroll and scroll and scroll. And just so you know, the algorithm is going to keep giving you things that, one, it thinks you like, but two, that causes you to scroll more and to click buttons, which means sometimes it will rile you up and trigger you. The algorithm knows to do that. So social media is not there right now to help your nervous system and to help you feel peace and help you feel calm. But what I find is that we all go there looking for it, but it actually ends up riling us up more. So I will sit, let's say I'll go on a walk, or I'll sit in peace or play with the kids, play with my family, and I'm feeling good. I will get on social media for work or something I need to do, and I'll end up scrolling, and I never leave feeling better. I just don't right now. I really don't. And so that's just a real awareness that I have. And just so you know, if you've ever left me like a message or a nice message on Instagram, I don't mean that. Like, that is actually a really nice community place. I mean the scrolling, like literally the scrolling, everybody reposting the same thing that then riles me up and makes me upset. Reading comments on other people's posts, that has never been helpful. There's just, people are really spouting all their emotions there right now. So this is what I am doing with social media, or trying to. I have a couple sources that I really like and appreciate, that I've already kind of developed a relationship with, or I've followed for a year, so I know how they post. I know what I can expect there. And those are like the two sources I'll use for my news right now. I'm actually not going to my news app. I don't want to be there, to be honest, right now either. But I have a couple sources that, again, I really trust, because it is a fine line. I don't feel right completely blocking myself from all news, because then then I can't relate to what other people are going through. I want to know what's happening in the world. I want to be able to understand it. I want to be a good citizen. And also, I know how the algorithm works right now, and I know it's going to feed me things that heighten me up, and I don't want that. So it is a fine line. So I think it's different for everyone, but just be aware of what you're consuming. Like, I think it's more that, just the awareness of what you're consuming. Is it helpful? Is it helping you at all in any way? Like, is it making you laugh? Is it entertaining you? Is it educating you? Is it any of that stuff that will heighten you and improve things or not? And that's something that you can even stop for just a week and come back to. But that is just, for me, an awareness I have. Again, I don't know if I have a solution to it, as much as this awareness of the content that I am consuming. And I think it's mostly scrolling. So like, I even brought out, I read books on my phone because I get them from the library electronically. But I've even brought out just a couple real books, like paper books that I have, that I'm like, I'm not even going to pick up my phone to read an electronic book. I'm not even going to tempt myself. I'm just going to get back to these regular books. So things like that. So I think that is a big one. So find maybe a couple accounts that you know and trust. See how you want to feel. Just check in with how you feel. And yeah, see how that goes. That's one thing I'm doing. Another thing is, because I do think it's important to talk, you can talk your feelings out. So just find a couple trusted people in your life who you can talk to. I mean, I have a couple who, again, know me. They know me for, close to my whole life, or half of my life. And we can talk through things, and they can be a sounding board. Or if you just need to spout things off, like if you need to get things off your chest, make sure you're doing it with someone who's really, really trusted, who knows you, who loves you, who accepts everything about you. It doesn't have to be many people. It can just be one or two. But I find that's really important, because again, I think what we end up doing is we'll go sometimes, if we don't have that, or we're not using that resource of someone in real life, that's when sometimes we'll turn to these online sources, and again, just scroll and look at all the comments and find people who are just angry like we are, and just it kind of can feed off itself. And again, I'm not saying it's bad to find an online community. I mean, if you're in Unlimited, especially, that's such a supportive, amazing community. I am saying, if you need to get things off of your chest because you are in a stressful place and you just need to get it out, let yourself do it with one or two really, really trusted people, because I think you'll feel better when you get it out. Like for me, I do. I feel better. I feel like someone relates to me, so we don't feel alone, which is really helpful. But we're doing it in a really, really safe place for ourselves and our emotions. And I'm using nature a lot. So for me, nature is like my healing, happy place. So I've just been outside as much as I can, or I just sit by a window and stare outside. To be honest, I just stare. That's helpful. That will regulate your nervous system. Again, I'm not giving you all the reasons and science behind it, but there actually is science behind like just staring out a window and looking far away, looking at the big picture, letting your eyes open up to a bigger picture than just your keyboard or just your phone. So I've been doing that a lot, and a lot of walks. That just helps regulate my nervous system. So again, for me now, I'm talking about how do I serve my nervous system right now? And that's a big way. Like one example is we had a huge snowstorm last week. We had days and days of snow, and we'd had school off. And so one day, like it was snowing and it was cold and windy, and we all bundled up and went outside and just sledded in our yard for an hour or two. I was cold. I mean, my hair was literally frozen and icy. And I left my phone inside, and it was the best I'd felt in a few days, because I was outside. Like I was using all my senses, right? My senses were all heightened with, I could feel the cold and the wind, and I could smell the fresh air. I could hear my kids laughing and throwing snowballs. And so just getting like your senses even heightened in a different way, that's really helpful to me. So that was a really good lesson of that. And then we've been playing this new game inside, me and the kids and my husband. That's really intense. It's an active like running game. We were all sweating afterwards. Our 7-year-old taught it to us from his gym at school. And it's so fun. And you just can't think about anything else but doing that. And you laugh with the kids and kind of we get into a competition. So those things have been really good. But again, it's because it uses your senses in a different way, kind of heightened all those. Like, what can you do to feel, to smell, to be grounded in the present moment? That's what I think it really is for me, is it really grounds me more in the present moment. Even teaching, I taught a live workshop this morning for unlimited members, and that was great. It just gets me into the moment and, working through things, which then leads me to the final thing that I'm doing, which again, I have a whole episode about it, but using my body, moving physically. Like research shows us, we know this. We need to physically move to move stress through our body. We need to. And that doesn't have to be a hard workout. Like, it depends on what you need. It can be cleaning your house, a dance party in your kitchen, cooking, going for a walk, doing a hard workout. And I've needed all those things. Like, I've needed to play those games with the kids. I've needed to go to the gym and lift some really, really heavy weights and throw them around with loud music in my ears. I've needed to go on a quiet walk to calm myself. I've needed all of it. But moving my body is key, and it always has been. And again, we know this. We need to move our bodies to allow stress to then move through us and out of our system. And then a couple other things. One, just make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Like, are you drinking water? Are you eating? Are you sleeping? And all those things can feel hard, but we need to do it. So just make sure that you are, treating yourself, that you are nourishing yourself. And then finally, just a piece I always come back to. We as humans were not made to take in the amount of information that we take in. Like, we truly weren't, actually. It used to be, 100, 200 years ago, our sphere of influence was 30 to 50 people, like in our community, and that was about it. And then you would get the newspaper once a week to find out what was going on kind of outside your community. And there are a lot of benefits to the way, the world works now with online and internet and being attached to people across the world. I mean, there's so many benefits. And also, remind yourself that we were not created, our brains and our bodies were not created to take in the amount of information that we are asked to take in on a daily basis. It is okay to shut the door on some things if you are feeling overwhelmed from all the information you're taking in. When I remember and think, what can I just do in my community? If I think of, how can I tend the garden I am planted in? That brings me back to the present. It brings me back again to where I actually am standing and what I can do. Because a lot of times to help stress, we can do things for other people. But I think we can get really overwhelmed when we think of the whole world. And we're asked to do that. Social media and the news now asks us to do that. And we weren't necessarily created that way. It can feel very overwhelming. So if you're feeling overwhelmed in that, then I encourage you to actually make your world a little smaller for a while. And that's okay. Who and what are in your community? And your community might be online. That is okay. But maybe it's like a private, small community, right? Like maybe it's not the whole world. Maybe you have a church community online. Like for me, I always think of my kids' schools, my actual neighborhood. How can I help here? What can I do with my hands? Who needs what? Where can I get out and volunteer? What do I have to give right now that is right here that I can feel with my senses? And then you can make that bigger if it helps. Where can you donate? What causes are really important to you? But I think it's okay if we actually make our world a little smaller sometimes. I think we're afraid to do that because it feels selfish. But if all of us kind of did that, if all of us took our focus and put it on our own bubble or our own community, then all communities would have someone to focus on them. And I know I don't mean to simplify it in any way, shape, or form. I know that sounds very simple and naive maybe. But I just know myself. Again, all I can tell you is how I feel. And I can get so overwhelmed with the amount of work and healing that I feel like needs to be done and that I'm never doing enough to help. I can get so overwhelmed that I get paralyzed. And then I feel like I'm not doing anything. So when I take it and almost say, you know what, where am I planted? Like, this is our actual community. Who needs help? These are my kids' schools. Who needs help? This is my unlimited community. Who needs help? How can I help? Okay, I have this YouTube platform and I have a podcast. I have this. How can I help? How can I serve? And I don't know about you, but it does help me. It takes away some of the overwhelm and the helplessness feeling, and makes me realize, you know what? There is something I can do. I can't fix everything. I wish I could. But maybe I can help this one person in front of me today. So that's my story. Thank you for listening. I, again, mostly just wanted to chat and connect. And whenever I talk things through, it helps me. As always, I tell you, this is like my own little therapy session. So it helps me to talk things through for myself. I want you to know you're not alone. I want to thank you for being here. And yeah, we need you. We need you. We do. And here's to working on our nervous systems, working on our stress levels, helping ourselves so that we can then go out and help others as well. All right, I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you so much for joining me today on Meet Your Body. If you have a moment, please consider rating and reviewing this podcast, as it helps us tremendously. For more resources and workouts, you can visit my website, jessicavalantpilates.com, or find me on YouTube or Instagram at Jessica Valant Pilates.